Good morning, good afternoon, and it's a wonderful good evening. Welcome to the Pivotal Podspective. This is, of course, the show where we get guests in from all over the world, come and chat to us and you about pivotal things. We can always pull something pivotal, can't we, Adrian? I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Adrian Dorobantu.
Thank you for that lovely introduction.
And I'm your host, of course, Elliot Brown. So if you've never seen this show before, we do get guests in from all over, and we've mixed it up a little bit now. So we're bringing two guests on, which is adding to the dynamic. So I think we're liking this, aren't we, Adrian?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's challenging and it's new. So yeah, we like everything that has those words, in its title.
Absolutely. And this evening, we're going to be chatting transformation. Transforming. Now, Adrian's laughing because in a very quick conversation in the green room before we started recording, it appears that I'm the perfect bloody client. So this is going to be interesting, guys. I'm interested to see what we're going to do and what we're going to come up with today. So we have Erica Lynn from Clinton Township in Michigan, USA, motivational speaker, transformational coach, podcast host, and author, and someone who shines a light into your soul and is known to help breathe life back into her clients. I love that. This is exciting. I don't think I need a lot of life breathing into me, but there's a few other things there, maybe. And we've also got, who else we got, Adrian?
We got Connie Stark, who she's been a very loyal fan of the show. She commented quite a lot of times, and she does rapid transformation therapy. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
And she's Colchester, UK.
She is just down the road here in sunny Essex.
Exactly.
So I think it's sort of hypnosis for creating an outstanding winning mindset in the sports area as well as business, of course, which we're going to be chatting about, but very much in the sports area is where we're going to be covering with Connie. Now we're going to be bringing both of our guests on this evening at the same time. I don't care that I messed up. We're renegade here. I keep saying it, and we're just going to crack on with the show. So without further ado, let's bring on our Guest Extraordinaires. One second, mess that up.
Woo!
Hello, ladies.
It's happening already, you see?
Exactly. Well, for people that don't know, actually, today it's Elliot's birthday. So happy birthday to Elliot.
Thank you very much.
Some of the things that you've seen tonight, they're just the effect of the champagne that he had, since this morning. So that's why he's mumbling a bit. But yeah, happy birthday, Elliot.
Thank you very much. It's a good point, though. I actually haven't had a drop of alcohol today, to be fair, and usually have a glass. So that's what we will be doing afterwards. Now you've reminded me. Thanks for that, Adrian.
Cool. we'll drink online.
Yeah. Well, we should have just all had a glass, shouldn't we? Ready, actually. How rude.
Very. You learn.
Do you drink, Connie?
No, never.
Oh, right.
Of course not.
Done it during the high school. And during
yes, I do.
Erica,
I don't do it anymore.
Erica, do you like a drink?
Yes, I do drink.
Okay, good. Well,
wine, out of curiosity? Wine or what do you drink?
I drink wine. I used to like to drink Hennessy, but I think the older I get, my body doesn't like it. So then my ankle and my feet begin to swell.
Gout. Oh,
not gout. I just take on water, and then you know how you have to take that water pill. That sucks because you run back to the bathroom for like 2 days.
Yeah, like you've been in a fight. I get what you're saying.
Well, Erica, welcome to the show. Connie, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. If we don't mind, CDE, we're going to go with Connie first because we go alphabetically, so we can't be sexist or anything else, or Americanist or internationalist, whateverist there could be potentially. But so we go. But Connie, welcome to the show. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very, very welcome. An RTT practitioner. Now, is this something that you've coined as a phrase? I mean, I'm curious.
No, RTT is not my invention. RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy, and this therapy was developed, designed, created by Marissa Peer. And me personally, I only stumbled across this therapy, about probably March time.
Oh, okay.
But it was pointed out to me before Christmas, but I didn't take any notice of it. But I have been on my own personal journey or transformational journey for 3.5 years.
Wow.
And RTT was literally just the end of it, where beforehand, I was almost catapulted into the spiritual world, which was unreal.
Okay.
Really. And I can tell you a story about it. And then I kind of went back over my past life, and everything was thrown back at me. And I had to work through certain issues myself in a hard way almost. But
Right.
RTT towards the end helped me just to get to the root cause of everything. I did my NLP practitioner last year in November.
Okay.
I had counseling in my 40s, which I didn't really understand.
Okay.
And RTT really is a combination of counseling, NLP equals C. Yeah, because we do work with hypnosis. And what happens is, so let's say a client says, I suffer with anxiety or depression. Can you help me? And we actually do get to the root cause of why your body created anxiety for you. Anxiety is normally fear of the future. Depression is not being able to deal with your past. So you're still hanging on to your past emotionally.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I'm learning about this. So when I listen, I mean, we know a few transformational coaches and things like that. You know, I think there's a lot of skepticism around this. I'm definitely a bit of skeptic in this area. So this is going to be interesting subject matter to be dealing with. I definitely want to transform. Adrian, are you up for transformation?
I'm still transforming. I started about 20 years ago. I'm still transforming. Yeah. So yeah.
It's ongoing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
A transformer my whole life, a bumblebee probably, but yeah.
That's probably closer to me, actually. I'm not quite sure which transformer I'd be. Maybe on the darker side, I would have thought, to be fair. And Erica, you're not just a motivational speaker. You're also in this arena for transformation as well, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And she summed it up beautifully. I just have my methods that I help my clients. They're not traditional methods. They're the Erica Lynn methods, right? But, I have a lot of different clients. Some clients were just stuck. You find that person that's just like sitting in the car crying every day, or wake up and you're just crying. You don't understand why. And so my job is to really help them go in and let's identify the root cause of why you're crying. But it causes me to be a lot of real nosy, get in your business. So you got to be transparent and willing to do the work if you want a coach to come in or someone to come in and help you go to that next level. Because when you have not fixed your past or your issues, then that's where you get stuck at. And you're like, why am I not playing big in my life? Why is my relationship not successful? Why I'm not moving forward? Like, why am I stuck? And when you're stuck, that just sends you in this just emotional whirlwind to where you really have to reach out and get some help, because if you don't, then you find yourself hiding off from the world and your depression gets deeper and deeper. And we don't want that. We want you to live your best life. We want you to be happy. We want you to be successful. But in order to get there, you have to be willing to do the work. I did my work. And so I encourage everyone to do their work.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely correct. Yes, Erica, I so agree with you. But also, you see, I found sometimes people like the idea of having something, but then are holding back on actually putting the work in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I had a client that I knew what her root cause was, right? But it wasn't for me to tell her. It was for her to tell me.
Yeah.
So in order for her to tell me, I had to share some things so deep about myself that made her, I mean, like I went downright raunchy. Okay, let's just put it like that. And she says, wow, you don't look like you did that. You just don't look like that kind of person. I said, honey, I did a whole lot of things. And what she said was that truly blessed her. And from that point forward, it allowed her to open up and share with me that bit of information. And that information was the transformation of her healing to move her on to where she opened up a successful business, going back to school, just doing all kinds of things today.
Very cool. Very cool. And that's the power of dealing with the things in yourself, isn't it? I mean, Adrian, we've been talking to, numerous people, and we're really getting this feel of working on yourself, transforming whatever. I mean, go on, Adrian.
Yeah, that's exactly something. So I already thought about the question I'd like to ask you, but just a bit later, just because, Hernan said, Ronchi, wow, what was that story? We're not going to ask you that exactly, what was the story, but I'm curious to know from both of you, what do you see like the most common, maybe, I don't know, traumas or reasons why people get stuck in those type of phases, or I'm not sure exactly how, but you get probably what I'm trying to say. What's, because you deal with customers, and what's the most common issue that you see, or the top 3 common issues?
For me personally, what I have found is anxiety, depression, procrastination, motivation.
Yeah, but what's the reason behind those usually?
The reason often is actually not feeling good enough about yourself.
And that's because you had the trauma while you were a child, or things like that? This is
a common denominator. And there are lots of traumas behind, particularly emotional traumas we don't actually recognize only when it gets pointed out, because a physical trauma will heal. An emotional trauma you cannot see. It's like you break or having your arm in plaster. Well, that is visible to me, and I can say, oh yeah, you have a broken arm. Oh, I feel sorry for you. But you see, with anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues, people don't see it and therefore often question it. And the common denominator for those issues is actually not feeling good enough, not feeling significant. And everybody matters, really. Everybody.
Yeah. Do you find the same yourself, Erica? Is that sort of where you the people you work with, or?
Well, some people, have you heard of that? I'm fine. I'm fine. Like I'm fine is the biggest crocker. I don't want to curse on the show.
Shit. Yeah, you can say shit. You can say anything you like on this show. We're not governed by anything here.
But I'm fine is the biggest crock of shit that you can ever say.
Yeah.
Because underneath the I'm fine, I'm broken, I'm hurt, I'm sad, my relationship is going bad, I'm just dying on the inside. But I'm fine just means that you just put a mask on so that you can come out to the world, and you don't want to let the world know what's going on with you. So that's like one of the biggest things a person can say is,
absolutely, Eric. A lot of people wear those masks because they have that feeling they need to project perfection outwardly.
Correct.
Because if I say I'm not fine, well, there is something wrong with me. And actually, that's a very wrong question. And I never ask that question. I always say, so tell me what happened, because there's nothing wrong with any of us. The only question you can ask is, so what happened?
Yes. And the second thing I would say is when we experience a trauma, because I've experienced traumas, we throw that experience in the back of your brain. So it's just kind of like you just discard it as if it didn't happen. Yeah. That's like a shield of protection. And really, you really do forget about it. That's how you're able to forget the details of if somebody robbed you, or you can't remember their face. The police
you put it away. Yeah.
Correct. You throw it away. And then when you become an adult, now you having a conversation, Elliot, with your wife, right? Today you guys are good, and tomorrow you just having and she just flips out on you. And you go, whoa, babe, you was just good yesterday. Well, what happened, Elliot? You maybe smiled the wrong way, something on your face or something you said, it triggered that experience that she threw away, and it caused to bring it up in the forefront. And then that's when we talk about not healing the past. Oh, it shows up. It shows up at the oddest times.
Because that's right, because it does go into our subconscious mind. You see, you forget the pictures because we can only store so much up here, and then it gets full. But our subconscious stores absolutely everything, and your subconscious will never forget. The trouble people have with understanding the subconscious is because that subconscious mind does not speak a language. It is a feeling mind. And to interpret feelings, a lot of people go, I'm not sure, I feel something, but I don't know if that's right. Well, that's called instinct. And we all have an instinct. So therefore, take notice of that, because your instinct, your subconscious is trying to tell you something. And personally, when you have a certain personality, that is literally emotions and feelings you have hung on to for years and years and years. First it's a mood, then it's a temperament, and finally it becomes your personality, because your subconscious runs your life to 95%. So your subconscious runs your life.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you know, you've both got very different approaches. You see, it's like this is what I quite like about this, and this shows that there are, you can have somebody in the same arena, but very, very different approaches. I think what Connie, what I see so far is you're very matter of fact. This is the way those things are. This is how it is, and blah blah blah, and that's how it works. And I see Erica, you've got a slightly more diplomatic approach and sort of a slightly, I don't know, softer approach in a way. Now, I think both of those work with different client types. I would imagine you both have quite different clients, still the same objectives, but have very, very different clients. Erica, what sort of clients do you sort of work with? I mean, what sort of people do you work with?
But you see, I'd be different if I was working with clients, of course. I'm not working with a client now, so therefore,
I thought Elliot was your client tonight.
Yeah, I'm your client tonight. That's it. But you're going into the sports world. But Erica, I mean, what sort of people do you work with? Is it a bit of business people? Is it? I mean, people. So I have no idea. I mean,
all kind of clients, because as you can see, I'm a people person, right?
Yeah.
So you standing in line next to me at the grocery store, and then by the time we leave, you're my client, right?
Yeah.
Because I just have this. It's the truth. People always say I'm just so easy to talk to. I find people just telling me their life stories. I mean, you could have just met me, and I know everything about you from your childhood. So I have my youngest client was 18 on into their 60s. Okay. And so I was like, wow. And you know how when you start a business, they teach you to have your target market range. So I really tried to stay in that 25 to 45. But those are not just the people that are drawn to me. All ages are drawn to me, and then men are drawn to me too. And so that's like a special, I had to learn how to work with men because your needs are a little bit different than women. And I'm not a licensed therapist, so I don't want to cause you to, go off the rim. But then I had to do my work, do my research, and go and get the training that I needed, so that I can work with men. So I kind of work with a little bit of everybody. And my method is, I think, outside of the box. So what I mean is, before COVID, you could come into my office, or I could come to you. But one day we might meet at the park and have your session at the park. Like, my goal is to meet you where you are at. Because how can I help you go up here if I haven't met you where you at in order to take you here?
Okay. Adrian?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something. So Connie, you're like you're moving into the small sports and more of a sports area. So you're saying you don't work with clients. So what do you work with? How does that work then? I mean, what is it that how do you work with people? What do you class them as?
What, with the sports people?
Well, I mean, if you're saying you don't work with clients now, what is it that you do then?
Well, at the moment, as I said earlier, I am preparing a program I can present to sports clubs because sports hypnosis is highly effective.
Right.
And this is really what comes from my heart to help sports clubs, sports teams to achieve outstanding results they thought could never be achieved. And it is a strong mindset. And when you your mind is so suggestive when you put people into hypnosis, and it's being taken on by your subconscious mind far more easily than doing the hard work of confirming constantly positive affirmations, because that's hard work. I mean, eventually it will go in, but by feeding the subconscious mind, you see, it is achieved a lot quicker.
Okay. We've got Hernan Sears, who's a friend of the show from across the pond, and he's apparently his favourite podcast from this side of the pond. So Hernan is a business bros who run a great podcast, the biggest business podcast in Chicago. Is it Chicago? Anyway, California somewhere. The Chicago's not. Is it Chicago? I don't know. And my mum, of course, saying hi to us all and hope you had a great day so far.
I just want to ask, so Connie,
please do.
You try to train those sports people just to be able to be very, very focused. So that's not necessarily dealing with trauma. It's more like what I get from what you said is more like having them highly effective.
Well, you say that there could well be trauma involved in it, because as Erica rightly said, when we experience a trauma, we try to push that aside, you see. So whilst we can perform in sports, but if there is a belief inside you caused by the trauma, you will not perform as well. So that means the trauma can be taken out, can be reframed, and then a new belief system can be installed, which will be your new belief, which will serve you.
Okay, so it's not going to be anything like that. It's not you're going to make me cry just before my big game or anything like that.
No, not at all. Because also a trauma cannot be relived. It can only be reviewed.
Okay.
So the feelings, the physical feelings, maybe it was physical trauma, you will not experience again. It's like the image will come up as if you view it on a screen, and that's all you do.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So
when that image comes up, by this time you've learned the tools and techniques to handle that trauma. So if you find yourself slipping, because we all digress, right? So if you find yourself slipping back into that depression, now we've taught you, or you've learned what you need to do to catch yourself. So in other words, one method that I teach is get your support system, right? So if you're going into depression now, you have to openly say to your mom, your sister, your whoever, I deal with depression. And so I go and hide for 5 days and I stay in the bed. And when I come outside, you see me in a full face of makeup. You never even know that I'm going through depression. So now that you openly told somebody, when your experiences, you just pick up the phone, hey, I'm having one of those days. And that person begins talking to you until you snap out of it. That prevents you from going into a 5-day cycle. Now you just went into a short cycle because now this person knows they got to crack jokes, do whatever they need to do to keep you from slipping into that deep depression.
Okay, so that is transforming something, isn't it? I mean, we've talked about this, and I've talked about this openly, and Adrian's well aware that, and I'm talking for many entrepreneurs that don't necessarily admit this, but in the last couple of years, I've definitely had dark days, laid on the bedroom floor, not wanting to do anything. I cannot think. It's like it's like somebody's put mushy peas or a mush or cotton wool in my head. Literally, a cotton wool is probably one of the best descriptions. It doesn't matter what I'm going to do. I cannot concentrate or think. I mean, and you go through a cycle. You're right. It could be that you get a good couple of months, and then suddenly you just it's almost, well, some people call it burnout, and but I think burnout is that next step. This is like a warning. The next step is there. But if you do that and you can openly talk to somebody, I think that's a good thing. I personally, and I'm being honest with you, when I've had that, I find I can't even talk. I find I can't talk about it. And actually what happens is I get annoyed that the person's trying to be helpful and trying to get me to talk. Now, is this a normal thing?
I think for men, yes. And I would like to encourage men actually to talk a little bit more, because I think the conditioning has been over many years, you're a boy, don't cry. You're a boy. Show some strength.
Yeah.
Because if you cry and if you talk about emotions, you must be weak. And I think it's a wrong perception. And I was married for 10 years, and my husband, he took his own life.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
No, that's okay, Elliot. But you see, we all have a lesson to learn. And I know that I was in my 20s when it happened. So I had little idea about psychology. Now I understand what the message was. Listen, talk, but talk to the right people. Talk to people who don't judge, who see you as a person, not as a man or a woman, just a person, because we all have emotions, including men.
We're getting very deep this evening, aren't we? Getting very deep. Yeah. Let's lighten the mood up a little bit.
I think the way how we should just lighten the mood up, I was thinking about it. It's ladies, we need to hear your craziest story, and not necessarily the one that's gonna make us cry, but the ones that are a bit funny as well, right? Maybe from both of you.
Erica, you can start, Erica.
You can tell us from your life as well. But I've said mainly with the customer.
I've had a lot of crazy stories. My life didn't get better until my late adulthood. And so, I don't even know where to start. You should have sent me that in the email.
I didn't know that was coming, so we're good with this. No, I think he meant with like a client, so so a mad story that's happened with one of your clients or somebody that you work with. Oh, yeah, you got to think now on the hot. Connie, have you got anything?
Well, because we are actually looking at serious problems, I mean, you try to lighten the mood, but you really focus on the issue. And so far, I couldn't tell you a funny story, to be honest. I mean, I can tell you a funny story about myself, but
what about like a massive transformation? Somebody that you've had such a massive impact that it stood out from everybody else.
So when I said funny, it can even be something. Of course, all these subjects are very, very serious, but just something that if I would feel depressed and say that I'm not loving myself just because I don't like my toenails, you see that would be very serious, but it's still fun. I'm just giving an example now. It's not like I know someone when I was younger. I knew someone that it was a girl. She didn't like her foot, and even she was wearing socks all the time, even in the shower and everything. She just hated her foot. I don't know why, right? But that was quite depressing for her. I'm not sure if she got over that, or obviously you wouldn't laugh, when she says things like that, because you'd see the way how she puts the problem, and she was very serious about that. But still, it was quite funny, when you think back about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, and it's a story about my son, because he deals with depression.
Okay.
And once I learned what I learned, I was able to help him. However, it's a little bit different trying to help your own child, right? So we went camping for the 4th of July this year. And my son, he's 19, so he's still finding himself. He's outspoken. He's a great skateboarder, and this is all he wants to do is just skateboard. If he could quit his job and skateboard, he would. This is all he wants. So I have a nephew that's like 10 years old, and he kind of deal with behavior issues and things like that. And so when we were at the campsite, somebody had stole his skateboard. So my son says, Mom, can I use your car? I have some buddies that live in the next town over. I'm going to go and get him a skateboard. I was like, no, you can't, because he was the reason why I got a new car, because he crashed my last car into a tree. So I was like, no, you can't. So then he asked my daughter, can he drive her car? She was like, no. And it's like 90-some degrees outside. He was like, forget y'all. Y'all just don't understand me. I'll go get his skateboard. So he literally walked 3 hours to the park to go and get the skateboard. And everybody's like, where's Jalen? Where's Jalen? I was like, well, he said that he's going to get the skateboard so he can save Donovan's life. And so Donovan's dad said, well, if this skateboard saves his life, I'm gonna be the first one to come to him and say, I was wrong, you was right. So speeding the story up, my sister called him yesterday and FaceTimed him at the skateboard park. Donovan is doing great. He's doing good in school. So one of the things that she tells him is, if you want to go to the skate park every day, you have to do your work. So he has like focus issues. And so this skateboard is actually changing his life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
So you can always, there's always something you can use. You can use as a hook then.
And to be honest, it's very, that just shows me, whatever your son goes through, that's what he loves, and he did it from all his heart. And he probably, the love that he gave when he gave your nephew the skateboard, it just could be felt, and that's why it was a mission for him. So I kind of doubt, probably, if you ask your son to go walk 3 hours to buy you, I don't know, milk or something like that, he would be happy to do it. But yeah, for that skateboard, because it was his life, his passion, then he would be more than happy to do it.
Yeah. And now I
determination,
yeah. And now I understand something like that. Like you said, it might not be our passion. It's not something I'm not going to get up there and roll around. But I understand that it helps him mentally, because when I took the skateboard from him when he was in middle school and high school, the teacher literally called me and said, hey, could you give him the skateboard back, because he won't focus in my classroom. So I had to give him away, because we take things away from our kids. No cell phone, no this, until you do it right. But that was one of the things that I couldn't take from him. And so now I understand how that was his therapy.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. You established that, and using that against actually is completely counterproductive, isn't it? So yeah. Connie, I'm intrigued, because I went to ask this a moment ago. You're creating something to work with sports professionals, right? Have you tested this in sports professionals? Do you know people that have? Why have you gone into that, as opposed to maybe the more natural approach I would have thought would be maybe the business arena, where where the performance is needed there? I think you get specialists in the sports. What is it that's taken you into the sports industry?
I think, as a also qualified PE teacher, somehow sports has found me again, right? Somehow sports has found me again, and I cannot give you the precise moment when it happened, but I just can see myself going into sports clubs and helping them with an absolutely strong winning mindset. Maybe it comes through my own transformation, from being confident, but to being self-confident. My passion really is teamwork. So that includes businesses. This includes families, because the family is teamwork. Relationships is teamwork. So everything around teams, that is really for me. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the sports background makes sense. I mean, if you're a PE teacher, a sports teacher, you're about getting people to try and win, aren't you? That's what you're there to teach them, to get the best out of them. In fact, I suppose being a sports or PE teacher is more like a coach than a teacher, because you can only coach so much out of people, can't you? Teaching is a different thing. Am I wrong or right in saying that? I know we're going off subject a little bit.
Well, teaching is teaching, to be honest. It is just my subject has changed. So I still see myself as a teacher, mentor, coach. it is just a different subject, because when you look, or when you find out what is actually your life purpose, what is your passion, the thing you should be looking at is really, what did you enjoy doing between the age of 5 and 12, 13, maximum 14?
How would I even remember that?
You would.
Really?
Yeah,
Hypnotherapy.
you would.
I think I did way too many things I shouldn't have
Coming
done.
to hypnotherapy, I would. Yes, and I think for me it has always been teaching. I
Right.
always wanted to be a teacher all my life. As I said, it's just my subject has changed.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't looking for it. It found me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I agree with that statement as well.
Yeah.
It just found me. Yeah.
But you've got.
I think it is down to life experience eventually, where you come to a point in your life where you say, well, hang on a minute, I cannot keep blaming other people. I've got to look at myself. Because when I look at my personal relationship, so to speak, I always attracted the types I actually didn't want, or it never turned out the way I wanted it to turn out. And I came to a point where I decided to look at myself. So why did I attract people where I couldn't fulfill my dream? Right? And that really was the start of my own transformation. But before it came to that, I looked into narcissism.
Oh, right.
And because I got triggered, and I needed to understand the mindset of a narcissist, and I discovered a lot of things. And then I was catapulted into the spiritual world, which I even didn't know it was happening. And then really my own personal transformation started. So I had to look inside myself. And that was very, very painful in places. Yes. And you have to feel the pain in order to heal. You really do.
Yes.
I listen. I'll go with it for the sake of the conversation. I don't know. I have my own beliefs in things like that, but we all have our different ways of dealing with things. And I'm sure you tell me I'm wrong for doing the way I am, or that maybe I could do it better. Not necessarily wrong, but on that subject, Erica, I love sevens. Right, I'm a big lover of sevens. Everybody that knows me knows I love sevens. Your 7 techniques of that you use. Let's find out what they are. I'm intrigued, aren't you, Adrian?
Well, if it's 7, I have to be intrigued. Yeah.
Well, the 7 techniques. If anybody knows me, one of the things I learned how to do was turn my brain off, right? Because of all the trauma that I experienced, I wouldn't let my brain connect with my body. I just kind of floated through life. And so I had a hard time remembering things. But one of the things that resonated with me is turning everything into an acronym. And so the 7 techniques of healing is simply an acronym that I designed so that not only I could remember the techniques, but it was easier for me to teach the client. So the H just simply is healing. And that takes you through the number one thing that you have to do is you have to heal. In other words, we have to pull back the layers and begin to identify what the root cause is in order for us to move forward. The second technique is educate. Let's educate ourselves. What do you need? Like what experiences that you have? What do you need to help you move forward? Do you need therapy? Do you need counseling? Do you need a coach? Like we really have to be clear about what you need, because if you need a therapist, then a coach coming to help you, that's just going to pacify you. That's going to put a Band-Aid on the wound, but it's not going to actually heal you, because you might need actual medication, and I can't write you a prescription for some medication. So you know what I mean? So really educate yourself on what you need. So once you find that out, then you have to take action. So don't heal and educate yourself and do nothing about it.
Yeah, very true.
You have to take action. So many people out here know what they need to do, but don't do it, right? You know that in order to lose weight, you have to exercise, but instead you sit on the couch and you said you're looking at TV and eating some unhealthy choices. That's not taking action. You definitely want to take action because your coach or your counselor is going to give you the steps that you need. So fourth, you need to take a leap. And what I mean by taking a leap is you have to begin to transition your mind, transition your thought process on the way you think about things. So if you're broke, don't say I'm broke, I can't afford this ice cream. Then you have to just say I'm overcoming a financial challenge. So you have to begin to look at things in a positive manner. Begin to speak positivity out of your mouth, because I believe in the laws of reciprocity. What you put out in the atmosphere is what you're going to get back. So if you wake up like, oh, today sucks, then you're going to have a sucky day.
Very true. Very, very true.
Right. So then next you want to inspire. So you have to inspire to where you want to go, inspire to grow. You want to inspire others. You want to be inspired. So if that means you need to listen to church music or positive affirmations, or listen to, like when I first started, I listened to Les Brown every day for 30 days. Do you know at the end of the 30 days, I was like, I'm happy. Let me know. So, you have to find something that inspires you. Like, I'm really hyped up like this all the time, you guys, by the way.
Good, I love it.
So my clients be like, oh, okay, we happy. I even exercised like for 60 days during the quarantine. They was like, I thought you was a transformational coach. I said, I am. I just transformed your butt off the couch and look how much weight you lost in 60 days. The next is need. So now you need to really revisit what you need, because at this point, your needs have changed. Once you educated yourself and found out what you need at that point, now your needs have changed because you've elevated to the next level. And lastly is growth. When you look back, like she said, when you look back and revisit what you've been through, you have totally grown to another level. And the most important part about growth is, I believe in each one, teach one. So in other words, you went through your set of experiences to get to where you are. You're going to walk down the street, you're going to go to work, going to school, and you're going to come across somebody who is experiencing the exact same thing that you just came from. And you're going to go, wow. So now it is your God-given right to give them a helping hand, because you know that road that they went through. Just like, our grandparents, like, honey, I've been there. You don't want to go down that road no more. If you actually listen to what your grandparents are saying, we could have saved ourselves a lot of heartache in trying times, but we had to be hard-headed. I got to live my own life, have my own experiences. But when you're going through traumatic experiences and you've totally seen the road that you've come from, it is important to share those experiences with the next generation or someone else, because even if they totally don't act on what you're telling them, it's still going to be in their mind, and they're able to recognize it, like recognize those issues when it comes at them. Does that make sense to you?
That makes absolute sense. Using healing as that word, I'd never thought about using it like that, but yeah, that works really, really well. I think my mum made a comment actually a little while ago. There's nothing wrong with crying for a man. They all need an outlet at some time. That's obviously from a little earlier. Yeah. So, and Connie, I mean, what would you add to that? I mean, do you have a sort of a theory, a process, like that? I know that we all get taught to do things like that if we go on these sort of coaching sessions, we sort of a way of putting it into a way to deliver it to people. How do you sort of do yours?
What I find fascinating really is there are so many different techniques out there we can use. You can go and see a therapist, you can go and see a practitioner, you can go and see a coach. And the people need to decide for themselves really what resonates most with them. I'm an RTT practitioner. Obviously, I love what I do because you put people into hypnosis, and hypnosis is nothing like.
There we go. So hypnosis is where your strength is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Hypnosis. Then you go into 3 regressions or 4 regressions connected to the problem, because we need to find the root cause of the problem. It's like going to the dentist, you go to the dentist, oh, I've got a toothache. And the dentist doesn't say, oh, here are tablets, off you go, come back when it's, when it hurts again. The dentist treats the root cause of the toothache.
Right.
That is what I do. I treat the mindset, because from our subconscious, what we believed over many, many years, somehow and sometimes it will manifest as an illness, mental health issues, and we get to the root cause of it and we transform it in the session, and then the client gets a personalized audio recording and they need to listen to it for 21 days, which is a very lovely deep meditation. And the subconscious get transformed within those 21 days.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. I did not know that. I mean, that's been completely new to me. I mean, we've talked about this, Adrian, haven't we?
Yeah, it was new to me as well. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I know. Not a lot of people know about this.
But hypnosis, though. I mean, somebody tried to hypnotize me, and it just didn't happen at all. I mean, I mean, I don't know whether there's a state you have to be in, whether you need to believe in it. I mean, I have no idea, but I think I've probably been tried a couple of times. And they thought they did not hypnotize me. I go, are we still doing this or what? Are you going to happen?
Yeah, I think with you first, you need to go to Erica and then jump straight into Connie to be hypnotized.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Erica can put you in the state of mind that you need for Connie to hypnotise you.
So basically, you're saying I need 2 therapists. Is that what you're trying to say?
Minimum.
I can't believe you're all fucking nodding. What's all?
Yes, Elliot, you do.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just asking the question.
I always say we all have our lane, right? I stay in my lane and Connie stays in her lane, and we can work together.
Yeah.
That's right, Erica. That's right. I think, Elliot, there was a time in my life when I thought, hypnosis would never work with me. Because really, you have to let go of control. And you see, some people might struggle with that, particularly who have that need to be in control all the time. And with me, really, it started with meditating 3 years ago, where I started to learn to meditate. And the first few attempts were awful, dreadful. Because I thought, my mind was shooting off in all sorts of different directions. And then I thought, well, actually, other people have mastered this, so I keep going. And I just kept going. And hypnosis for me really is just a deep meditative state, because you alter your brainwave state. That's all you do. So it is your nervous system goes to sleep, and the mind chatter you cut out, you see. Right. And then we have access to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious will just bring up pictures.
Wow. Yeah, it scares the shit out of me. That does. I have to be honest with you. Right, I need to be in control.
Well, and Connie has a real calming voice, so I have to say that probably contributes to her clients being able to go into that subconscious state. Because I could listen to you all day. Yeah. And so we do have several different approaches. So can you imagine when my clients leave me, they're all fired up. They like, yes. And they, because I'm a motivational speaker. So it was hard for me to balance healing and being a motivator. So it was like, I'm always excited. So how do I reach you at this sad place in order to bring you up here? So that was something that I had to really learn how to do. I don't have a calming voice like Connie does. However, all the phone calls, and if you look at all the testimonies, they all say the same thing. She totally inspired me to move into my greatness. And that is my passion. I feel like a lot of people hide behind their light. And so what that means is you know that you're aspiring to be something, that you want to do something great, you want to get that promotion, or you want to be a movie star, whatever, but you're afraid of what other people are going to say. You want to fit in. You don't like, how about the radio? Did you guys like the sound of your voice when you first started? How many people don't want a podcast, right? I don't like the way I sound.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
These help.
And it's quite funny you say that, Erica, because a lot of people have commented on my voice and they just love listening to it. And
You love listening to it, or they do?
No, they do. They do. Not me. I don't know what's so special about my voice, but I'm sure they have a reason.
You have a particular way of pronouncing things in a particular fashion, which makes you want to listen to what you're about to say. So there's and there's an energy behind Erica. Listen, I'm fascinated by people. I never cease to amaze me, good or bad. I have to be honest with you, with the human race. But to see that you both are so very, very different, but in essence, and as I said at the beginning, the same sort of goal. It's quite fascinating, Adrian, don't you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's why, sometimes we try to also learn a bit about the story behind the people, just so we understand them better and see exactly what they say. And that's why I said, Elliot, you need to, just because your personality is a bit more in line with Erica, and she can start on the note that you have right now, but when she brings you on the calm state, you need Connie for sure. Because if Erica does something and she just goes back into then you can't be hypnotized anymore.
Well, 1 minute. Why is this all about me suddenly? Right?
We
established that just before we started the show. So yeah, it's your birthday. It's your free session.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, listen, I've definitely learned a few little things here that I think will be useful for me for sure, and all being well for the listeners or viewers as well. Adrian, what have you picked up?
I need to love myself more.
Very much
yeah.
so,
Yeah. Stop beat myself as much as I do sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you need a hug, Adrian?
Sorry?
Do you need a hug?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely.
You can't really. It just doesn't. You can't really do it. It don't.
Especially because I don't know. I have this image in my head about Erica, like being that that mama in the family that does the dinner in the Sundays, and she brings everyone together and all that. So that would be the person in the family that you would go for hugs. That's how I see Erica.
Family, yeah.
And Erica, what's your takeaway? Have you learned anything this evening that from Connie and the different way that maybe she does things?
Yeah, I just enjoy hearing Connie talk about going through your subconscious and being able to let go in order to be hypnotized. Because I never knew how hypnotism worked in the first place. I tried to meditate, and it just doesn't work. I'm sitting there like, So just imagine if you can't meditate, how can you be hypnotized? And so to know that there's a method behind you being able to be hypnotized is really phenomenal. And I look forward to actually hearing more about it, off the air, and learning more about, not saying that I want to be him, but I find it fascinating because I like to learn the levels of the way the brain works and how it all ties together to our common goal of making sure that the clients are healed first before that they do anything else. Because what I always say is your core and your foundation has to be strong, solid, and healed. And if you don't, every day when you go through life, you're just adding on life onto a broken foundation. And so when we talk about earlier how we see those clients that relapse and have breakdowns, it's because they never fix their core. And so if you get a new job, the pressure from the new job is going to cause you to crash because you never fixed what was going on internally. And so the way Connie is able to help you to heal, to fix your internal surface, it's just strictly phenomenal. So God bless you, Connie.
Thank you, Erica. And I would say I find your 7-step approach absolutely incredible. How you get to that point where people become aware of what actually hurts. And I think both of us, really, what we have in common with so many other people, really, we heal people. We have the best interest at heart for the people, because we understand that we were all born like a little diamond, shiny, okay? But our life experiences, what we experienced as children, at school, wherever, they put a kind of layer on it, and the diamond doesn't shine through. And our job is, or what we do is, we polish the diamond again so that the person can see how their light can shine again.
What a lovely analogy.
Yeah.
That's deep as well.
That's deep.
That is the truth, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely right. And you know, I love that. What a lovely note to draw this wonderful conversation to a close this evening. Erica, where can everybody find you, and if they want to take on, you know, the way that you do things?
Well, they can find me on ericalynnspeaks.com. I'm on all social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube on Erica Lynn Speaks. I do have a free consultation that I'm offering right now. So they can go to Erica Lynn Speaks free consultation. And I have a new program coming out as well. Is your online group coaching program that we're going to want. The 7 techniques of healing is only part of the program. Like, if you want to overcome your obstacles, if you want to achieve your goals and go to a next level and improve yourself, then you can go to ericalynnspeaksmembership.com and put your name on the waiting list, because the program comes out September 30th. So I'm just so excited to just walk with all these new people, and I appreciate you guys for having me on your show today. It was just really powerful. I appreciate it, because Connie blessed me.
Yeah. Thank you, Erica. Really, it was a pleasure meeting you. Real pleasure.
And Connie, where can everybody find you, of course?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, and it is under Conquer Your Emotions, or you can also type in Beautiful Life, Live with Confidence. I also have a Facebook group called I Want It All. And you can find me on LinkedIn under Connie Stark. I've got a website as well, which is www.beautiful-life-co.uk.
There you go. Great stuff. We've done some links. If anybody wants to see that, then you'll see those probably on the Facebook pages, I believe, and group, and even on YouTube as well. So Adrian's busy doing that now. I can see his eyes and his fingers tapping away.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do now.
Well, listen, thank you very much, guys. I've really enjoyed this, Adrian. What about yourself?
Definitely. So I will stop from, but I definitely enjoyed it, and that's why, you know, I said I like to, and that's why usually I ask about people and stories that you had, just because sometimes it's difficult for people to find themselves unless they get really real life examples, you know, and that's what I'm looking into. And just like Elliot said, both of us, we've experienced traumas, maybe some sort of depression at some point and stuff like that, and we need to understand how our brain works better and how to overcome those and take us from that state of mind. So yeah, I always enjoy these type of discussions. I'm just glad that it wasn't so much about me tonight. It was more about Elliot. So yeah.
Oh yeah, cheers for that.
I think it's a matter of awareness, understanding different actions, and therefore you have a different outcome. But it is being aware of it first.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, listen, guys, thank you very, very much for joining us. I'm inspired by some of the bits and pieces that I've learned this evening, and I've definitely learned a few things. I don't know that I need 2 therapists, guys, but you know, if I ever do, right, then I know where I'm coming for my 2 very different the people that can help me transform, which we all want to do. And if you guys want to learn how to transform, you're watching, or if you're listening as a podcast, which will be in a month's time, so you're probably going to be catching this in October at some stage, then there will will be some links around this where you can find both Erica Lynn or Connie Stark, or both. In fact, if you do want two therapists and two people that are going to help you, therapist is the word, but you know where I'm coming from. So, and if you want to know more about what's going on in Essex Business Radio, then please check our social media out, which is Essex Business Radio, apart from Twitter, which is Essex Biz, BIZZ Radio. Adrian, thank you very much, of course, my friend. We've got...
and thank you very much, Elliot.
You're very, very welcome. We've got some interesting guests coming on for next week, so check that out over the next few days, and we're going to be putting some posts up about who's coming on. In fact, we have somebody coming from The Apprentice UK on next Wednesday, so we're going to be telling you about that as well. So we'll have to get everything finalised. We're going to be starting to release this information a little bit earlier. Sorry, guys, we didn't release yours early enough, but maybe we'll get you back on. Maybe we'll come back on the show if you fancy it at some stage.
You owe us.
Yeah. Erica's keeping really quiet there. Don't bloody come back then, Erica.
Thank you for the invite. By then I probably will be like everything will be on calm down from all these new programs and things that we're launching, and I can give you testimonies of how the clients are reacting in the One Step Beyond You program. Yeah,
definitely. We'll be look forward to see how that goes. Good luck to both of you. Good luck, Erica, with your new release of your program, and good luck, Connie, with your sort of new venture into the sort of sporting world, or re-entry back into the sporting world. I think you're going to bring something quite different and quite interesting to that with your PE background as well. Yeah. So. Yeah, good luck, guys. So keep an eye out on social media. Make sure you go over and you follow on Facebook, or you subscribe on YouTube as well. And of course, if you do want to if you do want to hear this as an audio podcast, then keep an eye out, because we have got an absolute rack of these shows we're going to be turning into audio podcasts, and we have got the streaming shows which will be going on very, very soon. So we'll tell you about that next week. We are a little bit behind because I didn't realize quite how much work this was going to take. So keep an eye out for that, where we have music and we have podcasts. All these podcasts you're going to be able to catch while you're listening in the background at work, at home, or on your run, or whatever you're doing, through the app, which you can find Essex Business Radio, available at all good app stores. Thanks again, guys. We're going to take you off the screen for a second. Stay in the green room for a minute, and we'll be back with you in a moment, if that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mate, what a great show. Really enjoyed that. I've definitely transformed. I feel transformed already.
You should, because you're going out for dinner soon. So yeah, just get transformed.
That's a good point. Well, listen, Adrian, thank you very much. And we're going to I'll catch up with you. Well, I'll catch up with you obviously later on, but back on the show next Tuesday, 7 p.m, Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Any last note that you want to mention before we go?
Other than happy birthday and enjoy that lovely meal, no.
Thank you very much. Big love to you all. And I'm going to say ciao for now.
Brown cow.